Hi everybody, let's talk a little bit about having babies during medical training. I'm Dr. Bryce, I'm an OBGYN resident and mom of 5 here in West Virginia. And today let's talk a little bit about how I had my babies during training. Obviously I'm still in training as a resident right now. So as always, please follow, like, share, post in your comments below. I'd love to hear if you've had babies in training, if you're thinking about babies in training, or what questions you have for me about what it was like. But I'll just give you a quick rundown. First of all, I was either pregnant or nursing for all but 3 months of medical school. So I had our now kindergartner right before starting medical school, so in May, before starting medical school in August, and then I had another baby between first and second year, another baby between third and fourth year, and then our youngest was born in January of my intern year. So I've had a lot of people throughout medical school kind of and training kind of come up to me and say, like, how did you do this? Or like, what would you recommend? Having a baby in medical school is very different than having a baby in residency. Medical school, I felt like the schedule was a little bit more flexible and manageable, especially during didactic. So the first 2 years of medical school, you definitely have a lot more flexibility because it's kind of based on your own, you can kind of self-study and set your own schedule outside of like anatomy lab and things like that. So that flexibility is really nice. So if you're thinking about babies in training, that might be a good fit for you. Clinicals are a little bit harder. I definitely felt like I had our daughter between third and fourth year. So as I was doing audition rotations, she was a newborn and I was nursing. The great thing about that was that I got to see which programs were super supportive of like breastfeeding and which ones maybe weren't. But at the same time, I don't feel like I was necessarily able to put my best foot forward because I was up at night nursing and then I didn't want to stay away from her. So I wasn't staying at some of the away rotations. I was coming home a lot. So it was a little bit tough as far as that. I don't always feel like I maybe did as well on some of those rotations as what I could have, especially given that it was an audition. That being said, it still isn't bad timing. A couple of my other friends had babies right towards the end of fourth year. After they had finished, they planned it for after they had finished their audition rotations and then before graduation, so that they got more of a window towards the second half of fourth year. That's another kind of nice time where you have a lot more flexibility to have a kiddo. And then as far as babies in residency, it's really hard to have a baby in residency because you are just already exhausted. You're already working 80 hours a week. It's really hard to leave your newborn, I think. It doesn't matter how many kiddos you have. It's hard to leave, whether it's your first baby or your last baby. I think it's hard to have babies in training. That being said, I was older when I went back to medical school, and my husband is also a physician. I think we've talked about that before. And basically, when we started dating, I said, I'm going to medical school. He said, well, I want babies. And I said, that's fine, but you're going to have to help a lot. So the way that we have made that work is, one, he's done with training, so his schedule is very flexible. And then we have a live-in au pair. So we have had an au pair for the last 6 years. And the way that an au pair works is that it is considered a cultural exchange. So they live with you, you provide room and board and a small stipend. Our stipend is a little bit more generous than others because we have 4 kids. But we are getting ready to host our 4th au pair. She will be coming in just a couple weeks. So we're really excited for that. So that has been a really great blessing for me because I have found that our au pairs do a really great job of loving our kids, being able to be there for us and help, so that if I'm stuck in a case or I'm running late, they have been able to cover. But additionally, my husband with his schedule has a lot of time off, so he does the majority of work. The biggest struggle that we had is convincing people that he is the primary contact, not me. Don't call mom, call dad. So that's been an interesting conversation. Struggle is to say to the doctor's offices, to the school, no, you really need to call dad. So what questions do you guys have about babies in medical school, babies in residency, breastfeeding? Because I breastfed all my kiddos, all but one of them till like 15 months. What questions do you have about having an au pair or a nanny, finding childcare, those kinds of things? I am an open book. Put your questions and comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you. We'll come up with some nice conversations in the next couple of days and weeks.